Hello, my name is Matcha Bunny, and today I'm going to be doing another episode of Tiny Bunny. We'll see how this goes and see if it actually gets scary. I don't know, but I guess we'll find out as we get to jump into this again. Oh shit, wrong button. What? Fuck, hold on. We're gonna pause this. Yeah, we're back. Let's try that again of actually doing the right one. And I could have restarted that and pretend that never happened, but you know what? It's funny, so we're gonna do it anyways. So, where we left off was with Olia bugging the older brother. Olia rubbed her eyes with a sleeve of her pajamas, and a shining smile returned to her face.
I'll go ask Mom for condensed milk and bread, and you rewind the tape? The bread is fresh. Just how you like it.
Alright, just be careful not to spill the milk. Or you'll be yelled at again.
Wanna bet I won't spill it. The tape is somewhere in the nightstand. Look for it.
Olia disappeared into the doorway, and I dragged my feet into the neighboring room. The old photon TV was gathering dust in the corner. All that was left was clicking the button on the front panel. Something's gonna pop out. Probably not, but maybe. The tube warmed up, and familiar white noise started dancing on the black screen. I almost reached out to turn on the VHS when the noise came down, and a blurry image appeared for a moment. Oh. It was the dark taiga forest, just like the one outside my window. This picture split the screen in half. Okay. Something creepy resembled human speech was coming out of the speaker. Just a few moments after the scenery was again overshadowed by noise. Did I catch some rogue signal? Local TV station only really show Soviet cartoons, and even that was pretty rare. And only just recently I used to always watch Robotech before school. It was so awesome. Maybe I should tinker with the antenna. What if I catch this channel again? On the other hand, Olia did ask me to find the tape. It wouldn't be nice to disappoint her. But in my sleepy state, I don't have the strength to do all of it. Search. Oh, that's a lot. I shifted through the shelves full of dolls, blue hippos from Kinder Surprise. I found the tape I needed thanks to its shabby spine. I got the black rectangle from its box.
Oh.
The tape inside it rustled while rewinding to the beginning. This rustle was lulling me to sleep. Drowsiness attacked me while I was squatting before the TV. Images swirled in my head, me and Olia flying above the forest, tumbling in the soft clouds. My little sister is laughing, but her smile becomes more and more forced with every passing second. I notice that the clouds underneath us part, bearing the bristly pine forest. Swampy darkness slurred among the trees, the wings no longer able to hold us and Olia.
You shouldn't have started it without me, have you? Or you haven't started it without me, have you?
My sister brought the tray with unevenly cut bread and a whole can of condensed milk. I rubbed my eyes. No, come sit.
Mom and Dad are arguing again.
They're going through rough times.
Rough times are lame.
Behind the screen, Wendy hiding Peter's shadow into the dresser. Olia was entertained by the cartoonish dog Nana.
Maybe Mom and Dad will buy us a dog too?
Yeah, right.
I'll have my own dog in the Neverland. And a cat and a parrot.
Olius smeared a slice of bread with thick layer of condensed milk and handed it to me.
Have you lost your baby teeth?
Obviously. Olia frowned deep in thought.
Peter Pan has baby teeth. What if they won't let you go to his land with adult teeth?
I'll think of something.
We'll ask Dad to alter your age in the passport.
And why would Dad forge documents? Olia took a bite from the sandwich and started talking with her mouth full. He said I heard Mom that they did that. I can't do that. He said I heard.
He said I heard Mom that he did that before.
I tried to do it with full mouthful, but I don't have anything to do that with. So you'll grow ears as big as Dumbo's. Olia worried and touched her ears, and I smiled to myself. My little sister was silent now. She just devoured bread, watching the adventures of Peter Pan, Tinkerbell, and James Hook. As she got sucked into the fairy tale Netherlands, to be honest, I also imagined myself there, in a land where no one ever aged, where no one argues over little things, where no one listens to fights and the sound of broken plates at night. I felt like I was dreaming with my eyes still open. Then my sister's scream pulled me back to reality.
Tony, shut the curtains fast.
Why? No one's watching you.
It's dark, and when it's dark, the owl comes. I'm scared.
I get out of bed, fighting my drowsiness, and close the curtains. I did my best not to look outside towards the treetops, towards Taiga Forest, which seemingly drew closer and closer. Of course, it was just a visual effect from the shadows of the branches scraping the snow.
Tony, Mom thinks I made up the owl. And Dad too. Thinks I'm a liar since I'm small. But the owl exists. Honestly, it does. You believe me, right? That it comes every night and...
I swiftly grabbed Olia's hand and looked her in the eyes. I was trying to transfer at least some of my courage and... transfer. At least some of my courage and determination. But did I really have those qualities? Yes, I believe you, alright? Just don't nag our parents about it anymore. They're already dealing with a lot, so they'll get mad at you. Come and tell me if anything happens. And don't look out the window.
But it wants me to look.
It doesn't matter. Act like it doesn't exist and never existed. It'll make up like it's made up, just like Mom and Dad says. It'll get tired of waiting and fly away. I'm waiting for it to pop behind us. It didn't. Okay. Or maybe it will now. We followed Peter Pan's adventures as if nothing happened, as if the forest didn't kidnap kids, as if our parents weren't tearing each other apart bit by bit. Captain Hook running away from a crocodile, and Captain Pan was heading to London on a gilded sailboat. By some miracle, I lasted longer than my little sister. Olia's eyelids dropped. She started snoring lightly, resting her chin on the side of the bed. I stood up and left Olia's room. I was looking out the window, studying the field when Mom peeked into my room. Enough playing around. It's your first day at school tomorrow. Go to bed. You should sleep properly. You don't want to be teased for being sleepy, right? Adults think everything's so simple. As if sound sleep would ensure my classmates would like me. I covered myself with a blanket up to my neck and listened to the house humming, to something invisible rustling in the corners. My inner voice had questions for me. Do I want to hear that mysterious flute again? Yes or no? Maybe it was just a part of growing up. I can't fully understand my own desires. The forest wailed behind the barrier. That was my walls. Something... Oops, sorry. Something eerily and some eerie... Today's one of those. I can't read, apparently. Some internal entity wandering the fields. Bushes shook as if calling towards me. The wind howled on and on in the night. My thoughts were annoying. Flies that entered my head before becoming weak and tangled. I didn't notice how I fell into slumber. And this was just the prologue, so it does seem that I have completed it. Yeah, so apparently this is the end. Who knew? However, there was one point where I could have done another option. But it looks like I am going to need to get the next episode, or the next game, to actually complete it. But that's not a today thing. So we're going to do a new game and do the other option of actually grabbing the mitten. Because last time I chose don't. Might as well choose yes this time. So there's going to be some repeats as from the first episode, but hopefully it's not too much. But we'll see. The wind crawled at my window all night long. I wandered the fields and howled like a hungry beast. An endless song weaved all sorts of voices, shrill, gentle, shearing, twisted in the air. They were shouting and laughing and arguing about something. Someone was running through the snow while casting long shadows that would occasionally creep close to my bed. Our house had a mind of its own, a creepy old mind of a building that had seen a lot of its days and was seemingly trying to share its wisdom with inhabitants. Yeah, hold on, I gotta adjust my leg. The lonely house faded. The lonely house faced the forest, and the dark green thickness gazed back at its shallow eyes, rustling, whizzing, swaying back and forth. Wow. One could come out and stand at the edge of the forest to reassure themselves there was nobody behind the crooked trees. Fuzzy silhouettes swaying in the winds couldn't possibly do any harm. It's just a play of light and shadow. Just a play. I knew it was just my imagination, but I was already 12 after all. Still. What? You can sort of see the fox. Hey, put your book away. How many times have I told you to not read at the table? It's bad for your health. Look how slouched you are. Hide the book. I didn't protest and put the book about Conan the Barbarian aside. I was stuck on the line I couldn't understand after reading it 3 times anyways. Olia had already finished her breakfast and was munching on some crackers. She was so enthusiastic, she almost looked like your typical girl from commercials. You're not going anywhere until you finish all of it. I, on the other hand, was still trying to drill a hole into the plate with my eyes, as if it would make the porridge disappear. Hazy anxiousness welled up inside, all because of previous sleepless night in the black forest around our house. It was a gloomy wind. The longer I waited, the colder the lumpy white substance became. I had a cough again, sorry. It looks like a jellyfish from the Cassian Odyssey. I love that show. I know how horrifying the bottom of the ocean is, or how cold the black forest at night, or is at night. My spoon fell out of my hand. My mom showered me with a cold glare from her green eyes. What did I say? I'll get it. I had 10 seconds to catch my breath before battling the nasty porridge once again. I felt around for the spoon. What's this carved on the other side of the table? Karina. Huh, that's my mom's name. I guess she carved it out with something pointy when she was little. She was a rascal damaging the furniture like that. She would scold me for a week if I did something similar, though. Should I remind her about it? Nah, she's been in a bit of a bad mood lately. I imagine her being my age sitting under this table. I wonder, was my mom afraid of the dark back then? Or sounds coming from the attic? Or the thickest forest? I imagine my grandma coming into my little mom's room, sitting at the edge of her bed where Olia sleeps nowadays, and saying this in her soft, smooth voice. Taiga is a special place, little girl. It's watching you closely, sniffing you out, trying to discern what kind of beast you are. If you're a good sort, it won't abandon you in times of trouble. But if you're a bad apple, it'll grab you by the side and drag you under the ground. And that would be it. Grandma was caring. She never fought with anybody, never yelled, never swore. Those were the times without the maddening screams until late at night, without smashing dishes and mutual accusations. Our parents used to love each other back then. I remember listening in on one of their conversations by chance. They were talking about Grandma getting prepared for her funeral. She had already bought a gray casket. She had called it her cute funeral box. It waited for its time in the closet patiently. It was black, unholstered with neat meat-colored materials on the inside. I saw it when my grandmother was being buried. The house didn't change since the time she was alive, only all the photos were gone. Glass-covered pictures with gray faces of my ancestors. They all had a dead but watchful look on their eyes. I crawled out from under the table. Olia was done with her cookies and was looking at my share like a sly woodland creature. I turned my gaze towards the frosted window. There was a lot of dark pines outside, but they didn't grab my attention. A pattern of frost formed a picture on the glass. Fox. Olia, look, it's a fox.
Where?
It looked almost like the optical illusion thingies they put on the back of students' notebooks. A mixture of lines at first glance, but if you blur your vision a little bit, and under a certain angle, not outside, on the window. Look, here's the nose, and here's... Hey, eat up. Yes, just a moment. I don't see anything. Hurry up, there's not much left.
There it is. But it doesn't look like one.
I'm telling you, it does.
It
does. Stop it. These kids, I swear. Now I couldn't see the fox either. It disappeared. Went away. Only the frosty pattern, similar to stretched out nestled leaves, kept creeping up glass. My dad entered the kitchen with a long, measured steps. I've wanted a beard like his. I want to have a beard like his when I grow up. Mom would always ask jokingly, "Come on, shave it off. It stings." That was so long ago. Nowadays, rumbling doors, witty comebacks were an everyday occurrence. Olia covers her ears whenever she hears something like, "What's the point in all this, though?" through the wall. "It's all for your sake," Dad would reply, "for the sake of our family." I always caught every sound in fear of hearing the most dreaded, the deadliest words that started with a D. D-I-V-D. I don't even want to finish it. It was scary to imagine that me and my little sister would be torn apart, taken to 2 different families.
Anyways, your fox is nothing. I have an owl on my window.
You and your owl talk again.
You said you believed me just yesterday.
Has anyone seen my car keys? I remember leaving them on the windowsill. Right. Maybe you did. Maybe not. You're a grown man, a father of 2, and still... Katrina, please stop. Just let me get ready in peace.
Your keys are in the basket near the phone.
Well, thank you very much. Anton, stop making a mantra out of yourself and eat... out of yourself and finish eating already. And the owl? There was no owl.
But there was one. It had giant glowing eyes.
Olia sprung from the chair and placed her hands on her little face, imitating a pair of eyes with her fingers the size of an apple each. Last year you had a babai in your closet, and now this owl.
But I saw it.
Alia shifted her gaze back and forth from Dad to Mom to me. I couldn't find any support. Have you thought about befriending it? You know, like feeding it with imaginary mice? Don't bully our daughter. She's just afraid to sleep alone because she's still little. Olia pouted her lip in rebellion and rushed into the hallway. The staircase led to the 2nd floor creaked. Mom gave Dad a strict look. Oh, that look in her eyes, so uncomfortable to be pinned under. Dad just snorted in reply and left, ringing the keys with he'd just found. A minute passed, and the theme song from My Little Mermaid echoed through the house. The Little Mermaid, wow. It was stored in an incredibly worn-out cassette tape, which Dad already had to glue together once. It's so easy to fix objects, but gluing them back together, for example. But how do you fix a relationship? Mom moved to the living room, and I was left alone, anxiously stealing glances out the window. Olia had trouble sleeping ever since we moved to this house. She would toss and turn or curl up in a ball under her blankets. Sometimes she would jump in the middle of the night and turn on the VCR. Cartoons helped take her mind off all the trouble we had with the move and our parents. And then Olia said she saw the giant flying monster outside her window. She became obsessed with it. Our parents did everything in their power. They even tried a little trick to get rid of those ridiculous fears. Olia refused to sleep alone and didn't believe the owl was just one of her nightmares. I try to yawn. Tonight, I was unsure what to make of my sister's words, what to think of for myself. Can nightmares be infectious? I'm trying to get as far as I can before we hit 30 minutes. Just last night, I couldn't get a wink of sleep and ended up thinking of what to expect at my new school. There was a couple of days left before the beginning of the new term. My imagination drew long, twisted hallways that led to classrooms full of kids, but all the students behind their desks were simply dark figures cut out of using a template. Circular holes gasped in the middle of their faces, a pair of eyes blinking inside those holes. It was as if some completely different creature were looking at me from behind the flat black silhouettes. The cruel glares filled the icy sneers that made me shiver from head to toe. Will I survive here? Won't they gang up on me and beat me down, stomp me up with their bloodied shoes? The damn school can burn for all I care. I just wish for anything to happen to it. It doesn't really matter what. I just don't want to go there that badly. I don't want to see people who are just itching to smack me on the head, trip me up, think of new offensive names for me worse than the previous one. I felt like the glasses I wore made me an outsider or some sort of monster. My gaze slid across the drawings hanging on the wall. I couldn't consider myself a great artist, but Olia begged me to hang them. Drawing was the only thing that made me happy as of late. The small circle of friends that I also enjoyed the small circle of friends I had also enjoyed my paintings, and they promised to call me from time to time. Sometimes I imagine Mom picking up the phone and saying in a cold voice, "You've got the wrong number," and Anton's not around. Anton is not around. I imagine my future classmates lying on their beds just like me, listening to the howls of invisible werewolves outside their windows. Maybe my new classmates will like me after all? But who would ever like a boy with thick glasses? That's a thing, because, like, I wear glasses, and, like, bruh, that doesn't mean you're, like, no. They'll, like, it's your personality, not your glasses. Shit. I mean, my dad used to wear glasses when he was little, and now he's married to the most beautiful woman on the planet. My mom. The house creaked, pressed by the wind. The condo we used to live in, a 9-floor concrete building, buzzed with the neighbor's drill mumbling with the TV from behind the wall. Cried like a baby from the big family next door. Our current house, though I can't really call it new, was completely different. It was silent and easy going during the day. Its shadows laid dormant in the corners, on the closet cobwebs, and under the stairs. Closest cobwebs? Yeah. But they all woke up during the night. Sometimes something was watching me from every corner, almost as if the old photos of my deceased family, with their ashen eyes, were hanging on the walls in place of my drawings. The floor was squeaking, rusty drains were moaning, the attic was occasionally occupied by noisy drafts. One could think the house was performing some sort of demonic melody. And then I realized I was, in fact, hearing music. It was already playing for a good while. Somewhere on the edge of my perception, I could hear a flute. It was mixed with the sound of wind and the creak of the old house, and my thoughts too. I stood up, rushed to the window. I wanted to reassure myself that this music was nothing more than a product of my imagination. It was not like someone is playing it there amidst the old snowy night, right? Hey, look, someone's dancing in the fields. Black silhouettes I could barely make out with the dark forest as their backdrop. They jumped around, basked in the moonlight, jumped into piles of snow, rolled around, crawled on all fours. The stories of wolves playing under the moon came to mind, but these were clearly not wolves. They stood upright at times, circled around holding hands, whipping up snow, disappearing into the shadows for a brief moment, then coming back. Something bizarre was going on. Shadows danced in the starless abyss made my imagination go wild, making me anxious at the same time. Suddenly, the music stopped. Dancing shadows froze in place. I could swear pierced me with their eyes. One of the silhouettes immediately parted from the bizarre shadows. Bizarre shadow carnival and sprinted across the field with giant leaps. It glided on the squeaky snow without leaving any prints until it was devoured by a pitch black shadow of my house, which became even darker and thicker. My heart jumped around like a bird inside a cage. Close that shit. I shut the curtains with a swift motion and stepped back towards the bed. They saw me. A freezing torrent of fear washed over me. I stood in the middle of a perfectly dark room, listening to some unwanted guest move and scrape around, looking for an entrance. The sound moved to the right, then circled around the house. Now my guest should be at the front door. I jumped into bed and covered myself with the blanket as if it could protect me. The shackles of fear locked my muscles. I remember the funeral, my grandmother lying there, hands crossed on her chest, facial features sharp like a tin doll. Ants running up and down the legs of the chair that held my grandma's casket. I imagined those little creatures climbing up her head, pulling with her eyelids with their tiny legs. Her winkly eyeballs once again moved inside their sockets, and she'd be able to see her grandchildren. I was chanting the spell she taught me throughout the whole procedure, and now I'm lying under the blankets listening to the squeaks and howls. I was repeating the same words. On the island of Buyan, underneath the blemished sun, there we go, in the sea of color blue, standing a cabinet made of wood, there lay lard in the ashen hair for the spawn of the devil's lair, to feast and always leave alone God's faithful servant called Anton. Evil leave this house must, ash ash, dust to dust. Bizarre sounds had disappeared. I cautiously peeked from under the blanket and saw curtains waving around like a hangman. And then the night dosed me with a new portion of boiling terror. The sound scratched at my eardrums, and realized someone was scratching at the front door, hurriedly calling at the wood, demanding to be let in. The door was shut. Dad had become very cautious recently, so he installed a sturdy lock. I remembered him staring at the forest intently as if he was looking for someone. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. I hugged my knees, placing my chin between them, and drilled the door with my eyes. It was so flimsy and weak before the might of darkness. And then, creak. The door knobs twitched slightly, and then turned halfway once, twice, and then the person who tried to enter had no hands. The doorknob tilted once more, and then started clicking violently. My jaws clamped from fear. My wet fingers clutched the blanket. Door creaked and opened. The wind taunted me, moaning inside the tin drains. Now you'll see. The door was wide open. The darkness whirled inside the carnivorous mouth of the doorway.
Tony?
I think, yeah. It was after the night itself called out to me, flapping its black wings and squeaking with the rusty hinges. I trembled, ensnared by the whole web of darkness that hung in the corner of my rooms, waiting for the one who weaved it to come out in gasping black hole. Tony. My abdomen tightened with my chest close. Rose up, ready to exhale a desperate scream. But before I was able to do anything, the darkness asked me,
Tony, you asleep?
My sister's pale face protruded from the thick darkness. I almost screamed from relief. Olia, I'm not sleepy. Did you need something happen? Olia frowned and stuck her lower lip, a clear sign that she was about to cry.
It's there again, staring at me. Show her away, Tony, please. I'm so scared.
The fear was tormenting me just a minute ago, it crawled away and hid somewhere in my stomach. I needed to calm Olia down. It was just a dream, silly. Don't be scared. Dreams don't bite. No one's gonna harm you. Olia sobbed. She was trying her best to believe me, but was I sure myself? I have an idea. Let's go to your room and watch the video. Watch Sleeping Beauty, for example. Ow. I sit at my desk. You like that cartoon, don't you?
Why does the Sleeping Beauty have a prince, but I have a scary bird?
The question took me by surprise. Alright, let's watch Cinderella. My thoughts became tangled fuzzy. What was that? What studied me with its eyes while dancing feverishly under the moon? The darkness was clinging to the window. I couldn't be fooled by Grandma's old chants. I couldn't be satisfied with a feast of lard and long ashen hair.
Tony, you coming?
Yeah, just a minute. Boom. Why didn't I want to laugh at Olia and her owl? That's why I didn't want to laugh at Olia and her owl this morning. Who could be visiting us here in the middle of nowhere? We don't know anyone around here. So persistent. I felt extremely unsettled just from the silly thought of my own morning guest who could have come from the woods. However, we're gonna save real fast. Yep. And that will be end of today's episode. Next time we will get to, hopefully, the part where we see what the outcome of us actually grabbing the mitten was. But, if you like this episode, please remember to like, subscribe, and if you really want, you can always add a comment. I don't mind. I'll eventually reply to them, maybe. We'll see. Probably will. But, see you guys next time. Bye-bye.